This killed my consistency in language learning. Procrastination is the worst. I am like a pro procrastinator, and I try to do good, I try to do better, but man, it's just like hard. I had times where I would have such good intentions only to sit down and be like, you know what, I'll do this later. I don't want to do this right now. Later is the better option. I'm going on Netflix. And then I justify watching like a Spanish television show, but then I end up putting like everything in English. Brutal. But I've had so many excuses just to not do language learning. For example, maybe it's just I'm tired. Estoy cansado. Maybe it's just I'm bored. I'm just waiting for the perfect circumstances to come along and the perfect motivation, and it's just not there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do this later. Later works for me. Maybe fear comes along. It comes along and just kind of says, who are you to speak Spanish? Who are you to learn this? It's the fear of failure, others thinking that I won't be good enough. It's the fear of what others would say. And so I naturally just procrastinate and say, okay, well, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Or it's just comparison to others. You know, you'll go on YouTube and you'll watch other videos and you're just like, okay, well, they can do it in 3 months. Why can't I? I'm frustrated, I'm dumb, whatever the excuses are. Whatever it is, all these things made me want to procrastinate and just not do what I know I should be doing, because if I do it, I'm putting effort into what matters most to me. And the tendency is that procrastination steals away what matters most in our lives. Listen, if you want to speak Spanish because you want to surprise your mom, or you want to go to another country, and it's just like it really matters to you, procrastination is the guy that comes in and just says, not today. This isn't gonna happen. So are you really gonna let someone else steal that away from you? No. So here's some things that I worked through that I found helpful to me. When I sat down and when I studied, I asked myself, at the end of the day, how would I feel if I didn't procrastinate? If I made effort and if I tried to understand concepts, if I watched the YouTube video all in Spanish, or if I talked to somebody, how would it feel at the end of the day? I would probably feel excited, full of pride, and that I've actually achieved something. I'd feel pretty good if, even though I wanted to procrastinate, that I didn't. So what happens if I just let into procrastination? Well, I'd probably feel sad, shame, guilt. I would have a sense of regret. I would suddenly take on this identity as a procrastinator, and I don't want that because it's not good for my language learning goals. So here are 5 quick things that I've learned are extremely beneficial for me to be productive and not procrastinate. The first one is to get proper sleep. Have you ever tried to study when you're lacking sleep? Like for me, if I'm going about my day and I've only got like 3 hours of sleep, I'm very irritable, I get frustrated easy, and I don't want my family to experience tired version of Andy, all right? It's just not fair. And I wanna give whatever I'm focused on the best of me. And I can't do that while I'm tired and exhausted. So sleep is number 1 because our brain works a lot better when we sleep well. Number 2 is being organized. I try to do my best to have a clean space, to block off time, and make sure that I get things done. So I try to organize on Notion. That's my note-taking app. It is phenomenal. I suggest you try it. And I know that when I'm more organized, I get to be more focused. Number 3 is being more self-aware. I've done a lot of work to be more self-aware, to understand how my brain works and how I think. When I'm more self-aware, I can understand when I'm about to procrastinate. Like when those thoughts are coming into my head, like wouldn't it be much easier to go watch Netflix? Wouldn't it be easier to grab a bowl of cereal and hang out and do nothing? Yes, it would be easier, but this is what I'm focused on right now. I tended to have a conversation with myself I know that might sound a little weird to you, but I have a conversation with my procrastinating self that says, you know what? I'm done with you right now. I'm done, all right? So I've learned to recognize that voice and push it away and focus on what matters most by becoming more self-aware. Next is I just grew in my sense of dedication, and simply just by recognizing that yes, this is something I know I want. This is something I know is going to be hard to do. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but this is something that I need to dedicate myself to. And so when procrastination sneaks in, I get to remind myself of why I'm doing what I do, what the payoff is at the end of the day, and I am able to recognize that yes, I am a dedicated person. I'm dedicated to this, and I'm dedicating resource to this. And so simply by growing in my sense of dedication, I can focus on what matters most. Next is just doing it through fear. Fear is very controlling for a lot of us, I think especially me, because when I'm working on something and I just don't get it, or when I'm going to a group class and I'm scared of what others will think, sometimes I just have to force myself to do it scared. And so one of the biggest life lessons I've learned is that if there's something that I know I need to do when it comes to achieving the things that I want most in my life, I recognize that I am going to be scared at times, and sometimes I just have to do it scared. For example, last night I hopped on an impromptu live group chat or group lesson on Zoom, right? I didn't intend to be there, but I clicked the link and it popped up, and here we are, right? An hour later, while being scared, an hour later, I was like, okay, well, that wasn't so bad. So here we are. I did learn a lot, and I did it scared. But at the end of the day, it was a great experience, and I'm proud of myself for going through that. So in reality, we have a lot of different things that are going to make us want to procrastinate, whether it be thoughts in our head or things that we want to do, or people coming in and us just making excuses for whatever it is. Don't let procrastination steal your joy. Don't let it steal your passion, and don't let it take away what matters most to you. Continue to learn. You got this. Don't procrastinate. Keep pushing through, because I promise you, it's worth it.